Hopefully I can grow my vocabulary in 2025. Hello, my bookish babes and besties, and welcome back to another video of Book Blabs. I'm Nat, and I love to blab all things books. Today, we are talking about my favorite books of 2025. But first, Happy New Year! So, I hope everyone met their goals in 2025, and if you didn't meet your reading goal, I hope you're not being too hard on yourself because life happens. It's not a competition, and I just want you to remember that we are doing this for fun. So you don't need to beat yourself up about it, you know? My goal was to read 120 books in 2025, and I was a nerd, so I actually read 136. I surpassed my goal, and yeah, I know. So I lowered my goal for 2026 to 100 books because I realized that I have a problem, and so I'm going to try to devote time this year to other hobbies because I know that that's an issue. So some of the things that I want to start getting into is posting more. I want to talk to you guys more because it does really make me happy to talk about books, and so I feel like instead of reading books, I can also devote more time to posting and talking about books and just growing my bookish besties because that's what I like. It's something that makes me happy. Another thing is gaming. I have a Steam Deck and a Nintendo Switch, and both of them just collect dust, and I feel like I have so many games that I haven't touched, so I want to start gaming more, and I feel like it'd be super fun to even if I'm listening to cozy music or maybe an audiobook or something while I game, I feel like that'd be fun. I want to bake more. 2025, I was really practicing my baking, and so now that I'm a little bit better of a baker, I'm hoping to bake more goods, either bring them into the office for work or share them with my family. But yeah. And lastly, I want to learn how to crochet. I feel like that would be fun. Shout out to Lorelai. She tried to teach me a long time ago, and I feel like I don't remember anything. So I kind of want to get some supplies and then maybe a YouTube video or something so I can start crocheting beanies or scarves or clothing or stuffed animals or anything, because I feel like crocheting you can really do anything. So yeah, that is just scratching the surface of my goals for 2026, but I feel like that's the most relevant for this channel. Oh yes, one more thing. I'm sorry, I'm going off on a tangent, and I promise I'll talk about my favorite books. If you're new here, I promise I don't get this distracted normally, but it's just been so long and it's a new year, so I'm excited to tell you guys about my goals. So hopefully down below you guys can tell me your goals because we can work on them together. But it is now 2026. It's January 2nd, actually. It's Friday. But my book buying ban has started. So this is a strict book buying ban. And I'm doing it to get through my physical TBR because I think I have 264 books on my physical TBR, and I only read 100 something books a year. So realistically, if I bought 0 books, which is not going to happen, it would still take me 2+ years just to read what I already own. So that's why I'm I need to get through my physical TBR. So yeah, just do that. And then secondly, I want to get my body moving more because I commute pretty far from my job. I spend about 4 hours a day sitting in the car driving to my job. And then I have a desk job because I'm an assistant in a legal office. So I do a lot of computer work and a lot of paperwork, but it's a lot of sitting. It's not so I'm very not sentient. Hopefully I can grow my vocabulary in 2025. I just sit a lot throughout the day, and so I want to get moving. And so the only way that I can buy books is by earning book points. So you guys can join me in this. But for every 30 minutes of activity that I do, whether it's going to the gym, going on a hike, going on a walk, I have a stationary elliptical stepper thing. If I do that for 30 minutes, every 30 minutes is a book point. So if I want to do a harder workout that day, anywhere between 45 to 60 minutes, I get 2 book points. But my cap for each day is 2. I can only get 2 book points a day. So if I like go to Disneyland and walk around for a whole day, I'm not going to get a certain amount of points, you know? So because I do want to keep it realistic and I don't want to give myself too many loopholes. So I can only earn up to 2 book points a day, but after 12 book points, I will get to buy a book. So that normally I give myself exceptions. The only slight exception I'm going to give myself is if I need it for book club, but I'm going to try and use my book points to buy that book, but say like I'm sick or I don't know, because I'm in 2 book clubs right now. So I'm like, I want to be realistic. So if I need to buy a book for book club, I will do that and like give myself grace. But yeah, I'm subscribed to Everand. I'm subscribed to Kindle Unlimited. So, and then I have my library. So I'm going to really try to use those sources, those resources first. And then if I can't find them on those resources, then I'm going to just get the book for book club. But every other book in my life, even if it's something that I really, really want to buy or really, really want to pre-order, I have to earn it. So I'm really hoping this helps motivate me. Okay, now that that's out of the way, I'm really sorry. Please tell me your goals because I'm excited to share mine. I want to hear yours too. So please, I'm excited to hear yours. Comment down below what some of your goals are. The way that this worked was I picked my favorite book from each month, but some months were total bangers of reading, and then some other months I had like 1 5-star read or whatever. So I'm going to start with some honorable mentions, and these books come from like the months that were total bangers, and I was like, oh my gosh, how am I supposed to choose between this book and this book? So these books were really close to making the cut, but however they did not. I'm sorry. So we'll call this honorable mentions. The first honorable mention I have is The Games Gods Play by Abigail Owen. This book is on Kindle Unlimited and it's so fun. I wouldn't say it's like super serious, but it's another like it has like the Greek gods in it, and basically what happens is this human gets selected to fight in something. I think they call it the Crucible. I read this back in like January, so it's been a long time, like almost a year. So she gets selected by Hades to be Hades champions in this game called The Crucible, which is like a set of challenges to entertain the gods. And like each god selects a champion that's a human, and they all like fight. You can die, it's dangerous, and you know. So Hades doesn't normally participate, but then as he's watching this girl, as a baby, she's cursed by Zeus. So she's like throwing rocks at this temple for like Zeus, and she's just, you know, angry with him, and he kind of gets like intrigued and amused. So he's like, you know what, I'm gonna select you and I'm gonna participate in the Crucible. And everything just kind of blows up. Everyone's so confused. They're like, what? Why is he participating? Because the god and their champion that wins, they get a prize, and I think it's like a wish or like your desire is granted and you get like a certain amount of power. And everybody's really scared of Hades winning this. So everyone's out to get this human. I forgot her name. I'm so sorry. And yeah, it's just really fun because the banter in it's really funny because Hades is kind of grumpy and then the human's kind of feisty, you know, it's kind of stereotypical. But yeah, it's amusing. It's fun. It's nothing like true literature, but I read it really fast. I had a really good time with it. So recommend that one. My next honorable mention is Lightlark by Alex Astor. I know this is like an older book, like it came out a while ago and I was kind of living under the rock, but I finally started this book and oh my gosh, I binged it. The only book I haven't read so far is Crown Tide, and that's like high on my TBR starting this year because I just got sucked in. Like I am so into this series and it was not what I was expecting. Especially since it got so hyped up on TikTok. I was really nervous, but yeah, I had a really good time with it. And so honorable mention. The next one makes me like laugh because this one's definitely old, but I want to specifically give an honorable mention to Ignite Me by Tahira Mafi. I haven't even finished this series, but I read all the like novels and novellas leading up to Ignite Me. And let me just say, Ignite Me, there is a scene in my head, a chapter in my head that has been on repeat since I read it back in like March. So, yeah, I really had fun with this. I think everyone and their mother knows what the Shatter Me series is about. So I'm not going to go into too much detail, but it's really funny because one of my best friends, Lexi, tried starting the Shatter Me series. Oh, hold on, we have a little visitor. I'm going to show you. Everyone, this is Bobby. Say hi, Bobby. Say hi, look. Hi, Bobby. Bobby has now joined us. He's going to get comfortable, hopefully. Anyways, yeah, I was really late to this series, but my best friend Lexi, she wanted to know what the hype for Aaron Warner was, and she didn't get far enough. So to the point, she she still thinks he's annoying and insufferable, and I got to the point where I get the hype, and so we like to go back and forth about Aaron Warner, where she's like, yeah, get him off my screen, and I'm like, ew, Aaron Warner. But yeah, so I had a good time with Ignite Me. Next honorable mention is The Sweetest Oblivion by Danielle Lori. I don't know what she laced into this book, but it is so addicting. I was absolutely obsessed. So this is kind of like, I want to say it's like a mafia romance, and the main character, her sister, is engaged to this man, and it's kind of like an arranged marriage. So he's like off limits, and it's dual POV. But once he meets the two sisters, this man desires the main character instead of her sister. He knows he's supposed to be marrying her sister, but he wants the main character instead. And so it's all of this like tension and forbidden stuff, because it's like close proximity, because they're like arranged marriage, so they have to have all these things together, and because the two sisters are so close, he's always around, she's always around, and it's like he's jealous even though he has no right to be. So it's like whoever she's talking to, interacting with, he's getting jealous, and like, I don't know, it's just so good, and I was just squealing the whole time. Like, it was so fun. Yeah, that was a really fun read. For last honorable mention is A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. I will say, the reason why I put this as my last honorable mention, and the reason why I put it as an honorable mention at all, is because I do not recommend this book to everyone. I still gave this book 5 stars because I feel like it will always like sit with me. Like, I will always think of this book, and it's definitely memorable, but it's very heavy, it's very depressing, and I feel like when it was hyped up on TikTok, this wasn't talked about enough. But this book is very triggering in like very specific ways, and it's in a multitude of ways, because it's about 4 best friends going through their life. Like, they've been friends since, I want to say, college, and they're going into their late lives, they're going into their 40s, their 50s, and it's just snapshots of their lives throughout the years. But there's one specific character named Jude where he's just really struggling, and he's very closed off, and he does not ask for help, and he struggles with accepting love and opening up. And so as the character development happens, and as life goes on, and he starts to trust people, we get glimpses of the past, of why he is the way that he is. And it's told in such a beautiful way. Like, the writing is literature. It's so good, and the pacing is so good, but it's so painful. It is such a hard read, and it's just, I don't even know how to describe it. It is so hard. And so I say, like, if you've been wanting to read this book, go for it. But if you are at all like mentally struggling or feel like this book might trigger you, I say tread cautiously and put the book down, or soft DNF it if you need to, because it's only going to get worse. The book starts bad and you get little glimpses of happiness throughout, little kernels, but it's only going to get worse. It's going to get more heartbreaking. The more you find out, the more sad it is, the more heavy, and it's just going to compound, and it's going to be so bittersweet by the end. My favorite book from January was The Right Move by Liz Tomford. Listen, I know I need to read the rest of the series. I have not yet. But let me tell you, Ryan Shea. I love Ryan Shea. I'm pretty sure, I'm 99.99% sure in my Goodreads, in my Goodreads review, I said that Ryan Shea could hit me with his car and I would thank him and feel honored. I love this man. Every single green flag in a man, a book boyfriend, Ryan Shea has. He has every single green flag that you want. He's perfect. He's probably one of my favorite book boyfriends to this day, and I read it back in January of last year. So, keep that in mind. So my favorite book in February was Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. And I was not expecting to love this book as much as I did because it is the accidental pregnancy trope, and that is usually not my favorite whatsoever. I usually think it's really corny, or I think it's just kind of an trope for me, because I'm if they don't belong together and they're only staying together because of this baby, it's only going to be bad news down the line, because a baby is not a magic band-aid or a magic solution that's going to get them to communicate or fix all their problems. They need to be solid first and have a good foundation before adding a child. But if they're already rocky and then a baby's thrown into the mix, that's not good. So that's why I get a little bit but let me tell you, this book was done right. It is so sweet because right from the get-go, both of these main characters have respect for each other and they're able to communicate very well, because their foundation starts with friendship. They don't expect anything from each other, but they just want, support, and they support one another, and, they're open, and they just start with friendship and then they go up from there, and watching it evolve into something deeper and better is just beautiful. So I think this book is so sweet. I had a really good time, and it's even though it's accidental pregnancy trope, I really loved it. My favorite book from March was Daydream by Hannah Grace. So Hannah Grace is an auto-buy author for me. I have read all 4 books that she has put out so far, which is Icebreaker, Wildfire, Daydream, and Holiday Ever After. And I think all of them have been 4 stars or higher. I just really like the way that Hannah Grace writes. I like her characters. I like that they're interconnected. I just love her chemistry, and I love her quirkiness. The characters have their own unique personalities. It's not very copy and paste for all of her characters. They all have different personalities, and I like that. They all have different at-home, deeper issues that they need to resolve. It's never just oh, here's romance. They all have things going on that make them the people that they are. And not only do we get to watch 2 people fall in love, but we get to watch them grow as individuals and see how this other person teaches them something in their life that helps them resolve that conflict that was in their life from the beginning, and just watching them grow together and as individuals. So Daydream was really fun because it was about sweet Henry. I was waiting for sweet Henry to get his book, and it was perfect. It was perfect. A lot of people thought that this book was a lot slower and a little bit more boring, but I liked that this book didn't have as much spice as the other ones, and it was a little bit more slower paced, because I feel like that's Henry. That's who Henry is. He's not easily trusting, and he doesn't love is just different to him, and opening up to people about certain things is different to him. And so I feel like this was the perfect love story for Henry. Just my opinion though, I'm realizing how much romances on here. I promise I read other books than romance. I read other genres. From April, I read The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. Oh my gosh. I already loved Ali Hazelwood, but this book solidified my, like, her in one of my top favorite author spots. I love Adam Carlson. The way that this man pines for her, like, he is down bad and she doesn't even know it. She thinks she's inconveniencing him because he's so, like, grumpy, and he's like puts this mask on that he's indifferent because he does not want to admit, but the fact that he's thirsting after her this whole time, it is so good. Adam Carlson, ladies and gents. Adam Carlson. My favorite book for May, I picked The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. Now, this book completely took me by surprise. I did not expect to like this book. This was the first Kristen Hanna book I read, and I'm not a historical fiction girly at all. This was historical fiction. It was about the Dust Bowl in the United States, and it's about this family who their farm gets affected by the Dust Bowl, and they end up having to migrate to California, finding a way to get here because they don't have any money and they hear that their prospects are better. But just the financial and the emotional and just the familial struggles, just the relationships between them. There's like tension between the mother and the daughter, and just everything is just, there's multi-generations too, and it's just everything about this book tugs on your heartstrings. And I did not think I would have any emotional connection to it because I'm like, I don't really know much about the Dust Bowl besides like what we learned in history ages ago. But Kristen Hanna does this beautiful job of inserting these really amazing characters that just feel so real that you can't help but care. Like, even if you don't want to care, like, you do. And you just find yourself getting invested. And I was so surprised to be so invested because I was like, I was scared I was going to get bored reading this book. But I flew through it because I just wanted to know what was going to happen with these characters. I wanted to know if they achieved their goals. I want to know what was going to happen next, or if they're going to find happiness, or I just wanted to know. And by the end of this book, I was crying like a baby. I was a mess. It wrecked me. It is so good. And I've since read 3. I'm about to start my 4th. And every single one of them is the same. So, like, just pick one. And I guarantee they're all amazing. I've read The Four Winds. I read The Women. I read The Nightingale. All 3 of them delectable. So yeah, I'm about to start Firefly Lane, which I'm pretty excited for. But that's besides the point. So for June, my favorite book was One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune. I believe this was a second book in a series, but I didn't even read the first one. But I actually really liked this book more than I thought. I'm not going to say why because I don't want to spoil like what the like reveal is at like the end, but it was more emotional than I thought. Like, I thought it was just gonna be a silly summer romance, like this woman has a bucket list because she feels like she hasn't truly lived, and so she has one summer on this lake that she wants to feel like a teen again, because she's like, I didn't really get to be a teen when I was a teen, so I'm going to live life to the fullest this summer. The age does not matter. I'm going to live fun, like going skinny dipping or stuff like that, like crazy teens do. And she meets Charlie, who is I guess he's like the handyman. He's basically taking care of the place that she's like renting out for that summer. So like if there's any issues with the house, she calls him and he comes to like help her fix it. But yeah, they start going through her list together, and a friendship, and something deeper forms between them, and it's beautiful. It's a really fun story. I had a good time, and I did not expect to get so emotionally invested in this one as well. My favorite book from July was Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. So my sister Danielle had me read this book, and I will say I think this was my favorite book of the year. And I know that's a crazy statement to pick one book as your top book of the year, but I really did some thinking, and I believe that this one was it. This was my number one book of the year. So this book is about two doctors, and they start off on the wrong foot. They just, because our male main character, he has really bad anxiety, so first impressions are like a nightmare to him. Like, he freezes up because he doesn't want to say the wrong thing, and so he often comes across as like rude or prickly or cold, or just kind of like better than thou vibe. And so there, our female main character, she's like, hell no, you're not gonna come into my hospital and start treating me or the other people this way. And so they just get off on a total wrong foot, and internally he feels awful and he doesn't know what to do, so they start writing each other letters. And it's so sweet because that's why it's called Yours Truly. And, they actually like form a really good friendship. It's really sweet. And I loved the anxiety representation in it because I myself suffer with like a little bit of anxiety, but not to Jacob's extreme. But this book also really helped me understand more my loved ones. One of my best friends has had anxiety for most of her life, and like this book really helped me put into perspective just like the things that she goes through in each day, or like similar things, because not every single person's experience is the exact same, but it just made me like have a light bulb moment, being like, oh my gosh, like what can I do to make her life easier? What can I do? And so just watching this female main character do little things to help make Jacob's life better, this is one of those books that truly changed me, because it put anxiety into a new light for me, and I realized how debilitating it can be, or how hard it can be, because I feel like a lot of it gets brushed over. Like, people with anxiety get told to like take a deep breath and get over it, like, and it's not that easy. It's not that simple. And so I don't know, if you struggle with anxiety, or if you have loved ones with anxiety in your life, like I highly recommend you read this book, because it's like a big hug, and it's so comforting, and it's so sweet, but it's also really educational. At least for me, it was very educational. And yeah, I loved this book. So thank you, Danielle. Love you, girly. You picked my favorite book of 2025. So my favorite book for August was Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. And I read this book for our little library, which is my podcast with Lorelai. Hey, Lorelai. This was our August book club pick. And once again, this was like literary fiction. So this was a genre I don't read a whole lot of, but it surprised me. I think everyone should read this book because of how many different topics it touches on. I feel like everyone could learn something, or this could like touch everyone, because it's just about multiple different people in multiple points of their lives with multiple different struggles, and it's just them growing and learning and finding connections, and finding a found family, and just finding community, or finding support. And just one of the things that makes being a human so beautiful. And so that's why I say there's something for everyone in this book. And so at first I was like, what is an octopus going to do to change my life? But let me tell you, this octopus changed my life. Marcel, you changed my life. Because I think his name's Marcellus. I think. If I got his name wrong, I'm so sorry, but you know what I'm talking about. I think his name's Marcellus, and Marcel. But yeah, loved that book. Please read it. It's a bit of a slower read, I will be honest, but the emotional impact of it, gorgeous, beautiful, divine. My favorite book of September was Scythe by Neal Shusterman. This was a book recommended to me by Jaden, my boyfriend, so shout out Jaden. Another genre that I do not read a lot of is science fiction. And this is a sci-fi dystopian read where basically the world has conquered death. People don't die of old age, they don't die of sickness, or say like you jump off a building, they have, and you splat on the ground, they have technology, I think they're called like nano something, that basically puts you back together and revive you. So like death is no longer an issue. However, for like moral and scientific reasons, people still need to die. So they have this like really holy order. They're considered almost like priests, but they're highly respected. Like one of the top ranks in society are called scythes, and they have a quota each week. They need to kill a certain amount of people, and they can choose however they want to do it, as long as they can meet their quota. But yeah, and it's done like heart aching. Like there are some like sides that are cold hearted and they just kill like ruthlessly, or they want the quota to go away because they want to just kill as many people as they want. And there are some, like one of our main characters, who do it very intentionally, and they do it with sympathy and empathy, and they really have a heart, and they really like they're like kind of like how it was intended to be when they created the Scythedom. And so there are two main characters, Citra and Rowan, and both of them have been selected to be kind of like apprentices to the Scythe. They think, so they're following this one Scythe, and they're basically training to be a future Scythe. So kind of crazy, but it's really good. It gets you really thinking about like what the world means without death, or like when you get to choose who dies, and like that whole thing of like playing God and stuff like that, and the power and how that can get into your head. And it's crazy. Really good read though, promise. I even got my dad to read it and he really liked it, so just saying. My favorite read for October was One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. Lorelai has been trying to get me to read this book for so long, and I finally read it because it was October's book club. Because for our little library, which is our podcast together, we each picked a book for each other. So I had her read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and she had me read One Dark Window. So I finally read it. Let me tell you, this fantasy was so good because it was very dark, it was gothic, it was kind of spooky, but the magic system was something I've never seen before, because I am a very big fantasy reader. I read a lot of fantasy, and I never in my life, out of all the books I've read, I've never seen a magic system like this. So they use cards. It's almost like a tarot card, and the way that you get magic is by tapping. If you own one of these tarot cards, so not everyone has magic, you have to own a card in order to access this magic, and you tap a card and you keep it on your person, or you can keep it away from you, but as long as it's tapped under your control, you have it. So it's like you can have beauty, or you can read people's minds, you can be invincible in a fight, you can have riches, you can talk to ghosts. There's all these different cards, but the thing that's also really cool is it shows you the price you pay too, because everyone always says in books magic comes with a price, or magic has a price, but you don't really see it. In this one you do see it, because it's like as you're using the card that makes you beautiful, you watch the person become heartless, because the soul, like your heart is the price that you pay. So while you look beautiful, you're losing your personality, your warmth, your kindness, all of that. And I don't know, it's just really cool. That's just like one example, so it's really fun. I highly recommend that book as well. amazing. The magic system is so cool. I'm trying to get Jaden to read it because he really likes like Magic the Gathering and cards and stuff. So I feel like he'd really like the magic system and how it works. So my favorite book from November was also our little was my podcast's book club pick of the month, which was Alchemized by Senlin Yu. This book was fighting yours truly to be my favorite book. So this is my second favorite book of the year. Guys, let me tell you. This book is over 1,000 pages and I want more. I don't think it's long enough. This book was so amazing. It was so good. It's dark, so go in very carefully, like cautiously read the trigger warnings because it is about death and war and violence and being a prisoner of war, and they do not hold back. They do not spare the details. It is gory. It is heartbreaking. It is almost dehumanizing in certain aspects. So, like, go in cautiously. Because, like, yes, there is romantical aspects in this book, but I would not classify it as a romance. I would classify it as a dark fantasy and then with a touch of romance. So if you're expecting something like swoon-worthy, not in this book. Yes, there are moments where you can swoon, but this book rips your heart out. But it is so worth it, in my opinion. So, but go into it carefully, please. Such a good book. Oh, it's such a good book. Loved it. We're on our last book. My favorite book of December of 2025 was Good Spirits by B.K. Borson. And I know everyone and their mother was reading this book for their December book club pick. Whatever. I normally am pretty harsh on Christmas books just because I feel like they're not that deep, and I'm like, they're not really change my life worthy, so I don't really give them 5 stars. I gave this one 5 stars, but I will say within the realm of Christmas books, because like compared to other books, this one is, it's not a 5-star, but I was trying to classify this, like, out of all the Christmas books I've read, this is a 5-star Christmas book to me, just because I loved how it was dual POV. I loved how it went between the past and the present. I loved the character growth that happened for both characters throughout the story. I liked how he had some learning and growing to do, and she had some learning and growing to do. I thought it was sweet. They had good banter. The chemistry made sense to me. Like, it just didn't, like, all of a sudden happen. You watched it kind of grow into something more. And yeah, it was really fun. It was really sweet. Yeah. So those are my favorite books of 2025. I know earlier I asked you to let me know what your goals for 2026 are. Let me know what some of your favorite books for 2025 were. Were they the same? Were they different? Let me know, because I love good book recommendations. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. Happy New Year. Hopefully you guys will see a lot more of me, because I want to start posting